And winter coming, he was hired and started his career in his now adopted hometown in September of 1974. Thank God. Glad he made this his hometown.
50 years ago.
50 years ago.
Yesterday.
Don found out quickly that he was built for small town living and began recording everyday life for people of Tulare, winning awards and winning fans along the way. 12 years later, he was nudged once again, this time not out of town, but into commercial photography and vintage property restoration. A motorhome trip across the U.S. with his dog, camera, and a rolling darkroom satisfied his wanderlust in 1987. After meeting the love of his life, Janet, he went all in becoming... Good for you, Janet.
One of his better moves.
He went all in becoming a trusted member of our community. And as they say, the rest is history. With that, I would like to introduce Don LeBaron.
Lord help him.
I've got a sprained ankle of the voice, but I will endeavor to persevere. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay. And at the end of that glide path, I landed in Tulare. I got a quick little story. Yesterday was 50 years I walked into the Advance Register newsroom. And it's where VIP Pizza is now, that whole building. And I walked in, I signed some paper. I didn't know what the hell, I mean, look at that guy. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a bag full of beat up old Micromats, and I signed some papers. I went into the dark room, and I got word that the editor wanted to see me. The managing editor was the one that hired me. So I went in, and for any of you who knew Tom Henyon, he was an unbelievable professional journalist, not only for a small town, but nationwide. And so I was intimidated, and he shook my hand, and we sat down, and he said something like, welcome aboard. We expect the very best from you. You're the chief photographer. You're in charge of all the photography in the newspaper, and the dark room, and the inventory, and the town is yours. And I'm giving you carte blanche. And I said, well, thank you, Mr. Henyon. I won't let you down. I shook his hand and I left. Then I went back to the dark room, and I thought, look at this. I was gold mining. I left the gold fields broke. I came down, my first interview. I got the job. I get to live in Tulare. I just met the editor, and he's giving me a bottle of wine. Carte blanche, right? Isn't that what that is over there? Carte blanche. I said, what a job. Later on, when I was lucky enough to buy the late Max Sheboygan's house on Manor Street, I never did get the bottle of wine, by the way. Tom actually gave me a bottle of brandy. And on the bottle, label, card, it said, congratulations on your new home, Don. This is for your larder. And I said, there it goes again. What the hell is a larder? So I learned a lot, but it was good and it was fun. And when I didn't have assignments and darkroom work, I signed out on the sheet Enterprise. And that meant drive around, get pictures, listen to the police scanner. And and a lot of these pictures are from that enterprise. And it was so, there's so much freedom, I realized what Tom meant by carte blanche. And we all know that was a credit card and it's the sky's the limit. And I think at this time, I'd like to thank some people, Patty and the food folks that put this together. My Janet, right there. God bless Janet. She probably got tired of going, hey, what about this one? Hey, what about that one? I went through 22,000 pictures on my iPhone and picked out about 60. And always clean your lens before you shoot, okay? And hold on. Okay. This is not a video, it's a panel shot right there. Okay. Oh, you can still. Okay. Got it. There you go. So God bless Janet. And she's right. 50 years ago yesterday is when I walked into that newsroom and got a lot of these pictures. And I'd like to thank my posse for working on putting up this precise, nicely hung exhibit. And so that was real nice. 4 years later, I did a book, and that's the book over there. I'd also like to recognize Joe Laspina. He was the other photographer. Here, he's here somewhere. Go like this. Joe around. And Joanna Owens, right there. She was a photographer at the AR. It's like a reunion. There's so many people. Tim Miller's here somewhere, maybe.
I remember.
I'd also like to thank my good friend Craig Smith. There he is back there.
Yeah.
He came all the way from Stockton
Oh,
to
my gosh.
come over, and Craig and I lived together for a while. He was a photographer at Hanford.
Yeah.
Remember, you're not going to get this time back, so you better enjoy it. And after the book, I did a slideshow. And back then it was pretty rudimentary, but I did slideshow for all the service clubs. And it was a slideshow with a sync with an audio. And I tried to say accompaniment. And I did a song. That's what I do. I do songs. And here was the song. I caught a memory right there in my hands. I took it to a darkened room and I let it loose again. The light would shine through neg and lens, then back into my eyes. A second chance at a fleeting glance of luck and enterprise. There's that enterprise. So that's photographer's work. Not too long now, the chief photographer of the Reno Gazette newspaper in Reno, Nevada. And he said, Don, I got an opening. Come on up. I want you to look around. And I, okay. I'd been here maybe 5 years. So I drove up on a Saturday. He showed me around the newsroom, big old newsroom. And the dark room had all these enlargers and all these guys, and they did color. And so that night, he and his wife took me out to dinner at one of the casinos. And We had a good time. It was probably 8, 9 o'clock, I don't know. And we came out, it was snowing. Right there on the main street, it was snowing, a layer of snow, and the cars were sliding and stuff. And I remember going, oh man, Doug, this is really cool. This is really nice. Hey, that's great. And in the back of my mind, I go, no, 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 no. Yeah. So that was just great fun. And the longer I stayed, I came back, and obviously I stayed. If I didn't, I wouldn't have met Shannon. What? And as the years went by, the time went by, I realized that in a small town, the nerve endings are closer to the surface. And you feel, everybody feels the good things, the bad things, and they learned it, some of it, through the newspaper. Important. Tom Henyon would say, small towns deserve good journalism too, and they got it back then with the Advance Register. So I enjoyed actually it all, and I started recognizing the culture of agriculture and how people work together. And I started learning the history of Tulare and how the generations, even back to the settlers, from the settlers and the railroad on, affected what we do here today. Like the high schools and the Hillmans and the Waddies and the Maderitzes and just on and on and on. There's hundreds of stories. Patrick Isherwood once said that he's fifth generation. He's fifth generation. So I started appreciating Tulare's history and feeling it, and I really, really enjoyed that. And Brooks Gist. I got it right here. Well, actually, this is one of his books from 1962. And I have 4 of his books. If anybody doesn't remember, you remember Brooks Gist. Unbelievable man. And I'm going to read this, and I'm going to tell you when he was born. Dedicated to my parents and grandparents, for they are the ones who taught me to love the San Joaquin Valley, not only as it is, but as it was when they first saw it so long ago. Brooks was born in 1893. So how old did that go back? Hold on. So I wrote a song. That's what I do. I write songs. But this song is much better as a poem. And I'm going to offer this up as an anthem to Tulare, or a history of Tulare, or whatever. And believe this or not, it's true. When I wrote this, I was standing on the gravel, but I wasn't. Standing on the gravel on the west side of the railroad tracks between Inyo and Kern. I wasn't, but I was. In my mind, for some reason, I was standing there when I wrote this whole thing. But I wasn't. It was up here. It's weird. So it goes like this. Born here by the railroad, forged here from the flames, our path was cleared by pioneers. Tulare would be her name. Strong sons and stronger daughters, a rightly honored breed, would cook the meals and work the fields, all honored godly deeds. And they pray that today we could reap just what they sowed, and so it goes. The history shows Tulare was her name. Quenched here by the water, man-made canals, a mountain rain, Sierra snow would coax the flow through her thirsty veins. But alas, the roundhouse met its fate. The trains would round down south. Funeral pyres, 3 downtown fires would surely strike them out. But they prayed that today we could reap just what they sowed, and so it goes. The history shows Tulare was her name. And pride, it still can be found. It's in the bloodline, big time. Be kind and pass it on down. But the land would hold them closer, now embraced by their flesh and bones. They handed down our precious little town. Bequest a debt we owe. Thank you. I'm good. I've got about 15, maybe 20 minutes of stories and a couple poems and one song. And I guarantee one thing, and one thing only, that when I'm finished with my story, my poems, and my song, you will never get that time back. So I better be good. I had Patty read the bio, and I'm the one that wrote it, and I wanted to make sure she put, yeah, he's that old. And that's why I pick up trash in the street. It is. So, Brooks Gist, unbelievable writer, 7-8 books, born 1893, died in 1980, and loved what he would call the high country, echoes of yesterday. He was 87 years old. I'd like Jerry to come up and read the last lines of the last page in Brooks' last book to show how he loved, actually absolutely loved going up to the high country. Jerry's my roadie.
Snap. When this thing isn't on, you should hear what he really calls me. Overall, the broods a spirit of peace and contentment that lays hold of a person, soothes his body, frees his mind, and lifts his soul to the heights he had never dreamed of. That feeling of well-being and release is what draws the same person back year after year for another breath of fresh air and another drink at a mountain stream.
Good job, Sam Elliott.
Beef, for dinner.
So, and I'm getting all this from Merv Fulton, the late Merv Fulton. And before he passed on, he told me that he and Brooks Gist would collect pictures. There's pictures in almost every one of Brooks' books, historic pictures. And one day in 1980, this is 79, in 1980, Brooks called Merv and said, meet me at Nielsen's. And they did, probably over lunch or something. And Brooks gave him all his pictures. Now, Brooks was 87 at the time. And Merv said, well, he said, I want you to have it. And so, not too long after that, Brooks went on one more ride up in the high country. And the word that came down that Merv had told me that Brooks was attending to his horse, and he died of a heart attack and fell into a patch of wildflowers. What a great way to go. And Merv told me, quote, Don, he had a premonition, because he gave him all his pictures. And so, this is why, crap, here it goes again. I wrote a song. This is actually one of my favorite songs. It's not Brooks' exact story, but you'll see. And I call it One Last Ride, a cowboy's dream come true. Goes like this. So I had an old cowboy friend who was cut from a different kind of leather. Dealing square and always there and fair and in foul weather. He called on me one early morn to help him out of bed. This old school man had a plan, and this is what he said. Put my feet flat on the floor. Old friend, stand here by my side. Help me walk out my back door. This old cowboy's good for one last ride. One last goodbye, then one last ride. That old barn seems far, but then as a boy it was so near. Saddle up, old gentle Ben. Hike me up and I'll leave from there. One last goodbye, then one last ride. Just tell the world he rode out like he could fly. Mi amigo, just one grateful last goodbye. Then one last ride, one last look, one last page in one last book. One last ride. I'll ride and chase God's rising sun, then lay my robe beneath the trees. Count my blessings one by one. Oh, my Savior, close to thee. One last goodbye. then one last ride. But don't you fret, my true blue friend. I can't get lost if I'm going home. Feed him well, my gentle pen. He'll be back, but back alone. One last goodbye. Then one last ride. Thank you. One last thing. I would like to introduce you to my iPhone collection. See what I did? iPhone collection, right there. I'd like to thank Leslie Gleason for really helping out on that. That was crazy, a lot of words. You laid everything out, and we put the taglines and stuff. And what I wanted to tell you is, if anybody would like one of those prints, you can purchase them. You see Patty for $25, and the full amount goes to the museum, and then Leslie and I'll get them printed up, and Patty will get them to you. So if you'd like that. And then one last thing. These are from 50, 45 years ago, whatever. So that would probably be called a retrospective. And I don't even know what it means. Where's Tom when you need him? Retrospective. So I guess this is a spective. That is my iPhone spective. So I appreciate all of you, and thank you for your gracious attendance. I hope I didn't miss, I probably did. I got so many friends out here. I got to go, you get a car, you get a car. And I might have a couple more words out of my throat. If anybody's got any questions or anything, you don't have to. Why?
I'd just like to say something about Tom Henyon.
Yes,
He was one of the best people in the world, you know.
yes.
But he told me one time.
Oh, there you go.
And this was years ago when I was playing with politics. He says, never pick a fight with a man that buys ink by the barrel.
Yes. I got a million stories about Tom, but everybody here remembers Tom. One thing I did, I guess I was a prankster even back then. Pretty rudimentary, but I took a cassette player and I put about 5 minutes of dead tape, and then I went in a closet, get me out of here. Get me out of here. And he would come back to the office about 1 o'clock. So they said, he's coming. So I put the cassette player in behind his credenza, and I turned it on, and we're all watching him, because he always checked the paper, right, when he got back. And he's going like this, and then he hears, get me out of here. And he's looking around, he goes, well, damn it, get out yourself. And so he was part of the reason I stayed, because it was such a fun job. We sent him an anchovy and olive pizza for his birthday. It's a long story, because he hated both of them. Any other questions? No, it's fun. Okay.
One quick question: How do you take pictures of lightning?
lightning.
Yeah, because that's just a picture.
That one, I'm glad you mentioned that because that one really was shot when I was over here. But I wanted to include it over there because there's two other shots of the clock tower. Nowadays, I do give you a little tip. Number one, clean your lens. Number two, shoot. Most pictures you shoot horizontal. Of course, those I shot vertical. And now, oh yeah, I got another shot of lightning. I just shot video with my iPhone. Well, I got plenty of time, but and then you can screenshot it off the video. So that's cheating. That is not cheating. If you look close at that picture, that's the superstructure of the clock tower. When it was built in 1975, oh man, I'm an old guy, somebody help me. And so you go, oh, lightning. Let me go out and stick 3 legs of this metal tripod in the ground and hope I can find some lightning. And the building in the back is the Advanced Register building, which is now where VIP Pizza is. And way back then, because film, digital, grain, pixels, everything's different now. But back then, you had to have a little nine. You got to focus. You got to figure out an f-stop and how much light's going to come in. And then put it on bulb, I think it's called. You push the button and it opens the shutter. And you just gotta sit there, come on, Tom's gonna kill me, I'm using up all this film. And then if you leave it open too long, everything blows out because you're letting more light in. But that was a lucky one. And if you look at the one right below it, the smoke from the clock tower, actually, what that is, it signified that Tulare had a new pope. If you see that, I got a story out of every picture. I get up early, and just like Enterprise here, I started enterprising over here from the last 7 years. One of the popular pictures is the shot of Elk Bayou. And I would do 2 things. I would, like a shark, I'd drive around, mainly downtown. That's where my heart is. And I'd go, oh look at that. And with an eye on the Sierra for the sunrise. And that time I thought, I think maybe December, January, I'm not sure, I gotta look that up. And I said, oh, Elk Bayou, I haven't been down there. And I got that shot. And I could sit here, I could point out everything. So that's it. I'm laid raw, so thank you very much. I appreciate everybody.
But the goal, I says, it doesn't make any sense, but we're gonna do it anyway. So, Joanna now, who's never shy except about this, is cleaning up the house, and she collects stuff. Now, I'm not a state employee now, I'm taking a break. This is after 5, so, Anyway, she's cleaning up the house, and we collect newspaper stuff. So, a lot of stuff with Dawn, other colleagues, and she's in one of these photos here, She finds this photo. Now, I've only met your wife once, and I think this predates your wife, so I don't want to get you in trouble.
Is it Christy?
But this is a photo I could never post on the internet. I couldn't even send it to Dawn because I was like, you don't do that anymore. Now, I don't know what the story on this photo is, but this photo has to have a backstory. So, you seem to know, Dawn, come over here. Yeah, You see why I don't want to email this?
Oh, boy.
You're in trouble.
This is the kind of photo. Really, we should give it to his wife, and then, you know, we're both gonna be dead. But this is the kind of photo you give to a good friend and say, for the celebration of life. You wanna blow this up big. What did you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Keeping abreast of everything in town.
The only thing bigger than the story behind this photo is John's sense of humor. So we're gonna find out if that works when he's doing self-reflection. But no, I'm gonna give it to you, and you can give it, you can share it with your wife. But I do wanna know the story behind this photo.
Do you remember that?
I like it.
It's a cake, it's a cake. I don't know what this